I recently beat the game Cuphead completely, from every hidden coin to every boss's hardest fight. The original plan was to make a series on my personal journey through the game, which was live streamed here on this channel, but when I had done it, I didn't make the easiest decisions and found myself struggling on levels or bosses that I really shouldn't have. So, instead, I decided to make you a 300% completion guide including information, tips, and tricks to beat this game with the best advice and strategies I've learned over the course of my playthrough and challenges. In this video, we'll be covering Inkwell Isle 1, the tutorial world. Although this world is supposed to teach you and get you accustomed to all the game's mechanics, it can still be fairly challenging. Before getting into any of that, let's first break down what all we have here in this isle. Opening our inventory, we can see that we have 5 bosses and 2 running gun levels, and unbeknownst to us, there are 15 total coins and 8 NPCs to meet with. I will not be covering all of the achievements isle by isle, just the ones you may happen to get along the way, or the ones that are required for the completion of the current world. Now, I choose to play as Mugman for this, but it doesn't matter. He and Cuphead share the same moveset and stats, which we can learn about in our first of 10 total levels. The tutorial, found in Elder Kettle's house, there's a manual that once clicked takes you through a short movement and ability showcase, which at the end gives you your first of 15 coins. Making our way onward, we can chat with our good friend Mac the Apple, who gives us 3 more coins right off the bat. Now, with no other NPCs to meet with as of the moment, you're provided to choose between either entering a running gun, one of 2 bosses, or here, our Pork Rinds Emporium. I recommend using all of your coins and purchasing either of the weapons, Chaser or Spread. Chaser is good if you aren't comfortable with getting all up close and personal with bosses just yet, or if you need some assistance with aiming. While on the other hand, Spread puts out massive amounts of damage, but at the cost of having less range. Personally, I believe Spread is the better option for me, and honestly, I use this weapon in nearly all of the future boss fights. With our first purchase out of the way, I recommend starting with the running guns. First, Forest Follies. For the first level in the game, it's genuinely not too complicated. The level consists of 8 total enemies. The main ones you'll see are these deadly daisies, bothersome blueberries, terrible tulips, and murderous mushrooms, all of which can be taken out with your weapon. A little further down in the level, you're introduced to some aggravating acorns, which will spawn near the top and follow the player, stopping above you and then dropping. Those enemies are being produced by our first mini-boss, the Acorn Maker, which you can take out with a couple EXs and then move on to a short platforming section where you'll just need to dodge some toothy terrors. This is a perfect intro level, really showcasing that patience and attentiveness are very much needed to get through this game. You don't need to worry much about your score in running guns, just grabbing the coins, which in this level are all pretty much in your path and easy to grab. Next, before taking on any bosses, we're going to take a sneaky little shortcut, which I believe will give us our first of 42 achievements, Cutting Corners. Unlocked by finding and taking any shortcut, where this one leads is just around the water, where we can now have early access to our next running gun, Treetop Trouble. Honestly, in my opinion, I find this one to be easier than the first. Just time your jumps to evade the bouncing beetles and woodpeckers, and the first half should become fairly easy. The second part of this level is honestly a breeze with homing weapons like Chaser, and if you don't have it, no need to worry, just focus on the flying beetles and then either run past the stacks of wood or have a friendly shootout. The last section is one of my personal favorites. You're presented with some chill mosquito enemies, which are all holding leaves that you can land on once before they get obliterated momentarily and then reappear. At the end of it, you're met with a mini-boss number 2, Dragonfly. You can either take your time shooting him down while reacting to his shots, which can also take out the mosquitoes, or you do this tricky little jump right over the top of him for no real risk. After completing it, again, you should have been able to grab all 5 coins. I don't feel as if I need to go over all of their locations. I will go over any coins that I may find tricky in the future, but as of now, that's both running guns and Isle 1 complete. With those out of the way, we're now going to head down towards our first mausoleum. This is a mini challenge stage where you just need to pay attention and parry any pink poltergeists that emerge from the sides of the screen. Doing this, you'll be rewarded by a mystical being, the legendary Chalice, who gives you your first super art, Energy Beam. I recommend equipping this due to how freaking sick it feels to just completely hydro cannon a laser into your enemies' faces, and you should, by this point, have also received another achievement, Parry Persistence. Rewarded for successfully doing 20 parries, outside, this also unlocks the option to speak with the Boatman, an NPC that will take you all the way to Isle 4 if you have the DLC. Also, there's this sweet NPC named Angel, who doesn't give you anything, it's just a fish that's fishing. Now to start working through the bosses of Isle 1, the main focus of the game. On our checklist, the first boss is the Root Pack, found in the level Botanic Panic, right at the beginning near Pork Rinds. This is an excellent first boss, containing 3 phases and 1 secret phase, which only 4 of the 25 total bosses in the game have. It opens with a potato, Sal Sputter, who shoots 3 balls of dirt and then a clump of worms. Take your time and focus on jumping over the dirt, then try and get a parry off the worms. As long as you're shooting towards the right and making your jumps, first phase should be beaten pretty easily. Phase 2 is arguably easier for most of you, facing off with Ali Bulb, an onion that once you attack will start crying, causing damaging tears to fall from the top of the screen randomly. Just pay attention to those and dodge when they're above you, and you should be on Phase 3 in no time. Phase 3 is definitely harder than the first 2, but still manageable. Stay in the middle and shoot upwards at the carrot, Chauncey Chantenay. Try to break his incoming carrot missiles and dodge his mind laser by just dashing away from it. Preferably try and stay in the middle the whole time so you have the most opportunities to deal damage and don't get stuck in a corner. To unlock the secret phase, you have to make it through Sal Sputter once more, but this time don't attack Ollie. If you don't damage him, a new villainous veggie will sprout, Horace Radish. He gets added to Chauncey's section of the fight, spinning along the floor in the player's direction until taken out. I recommend aiming for Chauncey and his missiles first, and during the laser attack, Horace. Beating this boss should do a few things. A, you will receive your first soul contract out of the 17 you need to access the end bosses. Beating secret phases in boss fights do still provide you the contract, but it would be the same if you only ever did it the normal way. B, it should also grant you a few achievements, depending on how you did it. First is taking names, which you get for beating a boss. Then, assuming you went for a perfect A+ and didn't take any damage, Perfect Run should have also been granted. And finally, you could have also gotten either Ceramic Strike or Porcelain Power, granted for defeating a boss with your last blow either being an EX or Super Art attack, which I personally find easier to grab on the next battle against Goopy Legrand. This boss, found in the stage Ruse of an Ooze, arguably the easiest boss in the game. This blue ball will bounce around periodically in a pattern from one side to the other, whilst occasionally stopping to try and land a hit by extending its face in your direction before starting to bounce again. This attack is quite easy to dodge by just ducking underneath it, and with spread equipped you can lay out a ton of damage. The second phase is the exact same thing, except for the fact that now he's a bigger boy. If you happen to struggle with either of these, I recommend taking a quick stop at Pork Rinds so you can purchase the Smoke Bomb Charm, along with another weapon you didn't buy initially. If you had bought Spread, then now purchase Chaser, and vice versa. Or you can do what I did and go for the weapon Roundabout, which comes in quite handy with future bosses. Heading back, after now absolutely obliterating those first 2 phases, the last thing I have to say is just switch to Spread if you have it, and aim up. Dash away when Goopy goes to fall down on you, and rely on jumping face level with him and using your EXs, since he doesn't have a hurt box to damage you until he attacks. After this, of course, you'll receive his soul contract, but also a path upwards, where you can get your first encounter with Canteen Hughes, a short stalker friend obsessed with planes who tells you about some blueprints to the right of him where you can take a look at your new ability to turn into an airplane, which will be showcased in the next battle against my personal favorite boss in Isle 1, Hildeberg. Featured in the level Threatenin' Zeppelin, this fight is long, and opens up with Hilda flying around and occasionally shooting a large hat at us, along with having enemies called Zeppelings appear that shoot either 1 or more bullets depending on their color. It's a short phase that then moves to the next part, where she changes into a large bull that isn't too challenging to dodge and can be taken down with just enough rounds. After Hilda has the chance to either turn into her Gemini form, where she stays spinning on the right of the screen and occasionally will release a ball of fire in the middle of your side of the arena. A tip for this attack is the fireball will start shooting rapidly in a circular rotation, but it can only ever start from the y-axis, so stay behind it, wait for it to start shooting, and then just go around it. The other form she can turn into is the Sagittarius, where she appears as a large archer that shoots one arrow from her bow along with 3 blue breakable stars that home in on the player. After beating either of those, she has a short transition phase which is practically identical to the first, just faster attacks I believe, and as long as you deal enough damage to send her into her last phase, she'll become a giant half moon. Stars will be coming from the right side of the screen, along with UFOs. There's 2. The red ones that you'll need to dash past, and the brown ones that you'll need to bait out into attacking before going past them. When she spawns these, her face will also extend forward along with her hitbox. We can take full advantage of this by using our Plane Shooter EX for maximum damage without breaking a sweat, giving us Soul Contract number 3 and providing us a clear path to our 4th boss of the Isle. Cagney Carnation. Arguably the most difficult boss in this world, mostly due to the chaotic overload from his first phase. In the level Floral Fury, Cagney has a few first phase attacks. To start, he can extend his face all along either the top or bottom half of the screen, in which you stay on the ground, shoot up, or go on the platform and shoot down. Chaser is a good option for this fight due to you or Cagney generally always being in an awkward position. The other attacks include him shooting a bunch of seeds from the top of the screen that will grow into little enemies that clutter the screen and are pretty rough to dodge. My advice is always parry the pink seed due to that one growing into an indestructible flower that sits and flies around the top of the screen that you can only damage when it chooses to shoot at you. Finally, he can bring his hands together and perform one of 2 attacks. First is a boomerang enemy that will be shot on the top layer of the screen and wrap around coming back on the lower half of the screen. It's fairly easy to dodge along with the other attack where he shoots an amount of either 3 or 4 homing acorns towards the player. I tend to save up my cards and use them for my super art, which helps with clearing away any of the enemies, along with doing additional damage. Doing enough can bring him to his second and last phase where you need to hop up on top of the platforms, dodge his thorny vines. You only ever do 2 at a time as long as you're in a position where you can safely go to and from another spot. There's not much to worry about here. This leaves us with one more boss in the Isle. Down by the root pack, you can find another level called Clipjoint Calamity, where you'll be facing off against Ribby and Croaks, 2 Froggos that start off the fight with 1 attack each. Croaks will spit fireflies that will slowly follow the player, while Ribby will throw Hadouken-style fireballs at you, 3 of which you can parry. I don't have much advice for this. It's honestly fairly simple. I mean, focus on taking out the fireflies before getting and going back and attacking the main bosses. Second phase starts with Ribby curling up and rolling towards you. Jump and dash over, and then start spamming attacks into Croaks. He'll turn into a giant fan and will attempt to blow you back into Ribby, who will create a weird magic sphere that vertically crosses the screen. A lot of people say just go semi-neutral and get pushed past and underneath them, while I found it easier to jump over them. So really find which one you're more comfortable with and stick with that. The third and final phase starts the same way, with Ribby rolling back to Croaks. During this transition, try to not use your EXs or supers just because neither of them take damage here. Once they become a slot machine, you have to wait to deal damage by dodging coins and getting them to use their 3 other attacks, only after you parry their little hand once it turns pink. The 3 attacks these guys have are pretty easy to get down as long as you're comfortable with movement. Here, side note here, I see YouTubers and speedrunners constantly calling this the lion. In what world is this not a tiger? If you make it this far, comment down below what you think it is. Anyway, the tiger attack spawn chips along the floor with balls that bounce up and down on it that you must jump between consecutively until the end of the attack, getting tighter as it goes on. But once you did all that, then you did it. You beat all of Isle 1. Congratulations. Last thing to do before moving on, to the next aisle and video would be to first appreciate your hopefully earned achievements. You definitely got a walk in the park, rewarded for defeating every boss in the aisle, but if you did them all with a rank of A- or higher, you'll also receive Sheriff. And since you did all those, you could have also gotten the achievement Parry Performance, granted only after doing 100 total parries, which if you don't have, you can easily go and replay the mausoleums anytime by walking up to them and holding down your trigger buttons. Finally, right before the bridge over, there's an NPC named Chip, who was initially blocking you from grabbing the hidden coin in this aisle, but after beating all 5 bosses, he moves over and you can happily collect your 15th and final coin of Aisle 1.